Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Scorpio for May 2018. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com. Check out my extensive blog where I seek to prepare you for the present and the upcoming transits with as much information and resources and suggestions as possible. Also, if you're interested in becoming an astrologer or a coach or bringing your business online, maybe something in my vocational school, Shine Your Brilliance University, will be perfect for you. So you can check that out at anniehelpsyou.com. What's going on in this month of May? We've got this beautiful sweet spot before the eclipses start to make things crazy again, before Mars starts to go into retrograde, which is a co-ruler for you. You'll be feeling that. After the Mercury retrograde, we've got this sweet spot in May, which is amazing for pushing some things through that you've been working on. It can be amazing for starting some new things, even though we do have this wall of retrograde still ahead of us. There's this opening up. And then, like I said, there's this calm before the storm where these eclipses will start to get pretty rowdy again, starting in June. You might see some of those events in May, but definitely those energies are going to get stronger later. I'm calling the theme of the month for Scorpios Quiet Simplicity. And this is based on a couple of different things. First of all, we have a very short and long-term focus in the bottom half of your chart, which the bottom half deals more with mundane experiences. So things that I call back to basics, establishing yourself, who you are, what you're doing, establishing your finances, how you're making money, planting the seeds for making more money or making money in a different way. Your communication is very heavily aspected in the long and short term. And we'll have a major theme with the Mars retrograde as an ongoing thing, working through any frustrations or using opportunities you have for expanding your communication in wonderful ways. We've got energy that's focused on your health and on your routine. So these things that ground us into the day-to-day are part of this ongoing theme for the long term and this ongoing theme for the short term as well. There's definitely a key tie-in to following passion to do the things you're supposed to do in your life. Now, there can be some confusion about this sometimes because very often we have to do things that we don't want to do to make money, but also want to have time to explore passions. So the more you can either do things that you love for work, either working for somebody else or your own things, or the more you can carve, even if it's just a little bit of time, aside for the things that you love. These pursuits are cumulative. Their effects are cumulative. So with this energy of the transiting North Node, for some of you it's in your 10th house, you early degree placements. For the rest of you it's in your 9th house. But it's for everybody, it's in Leo, is talking about this bringing passion into purpose. There could be education that you need to bring to others or that you need to do for yourself as an important key to establishing your highest expression. If there's a way that you can get education, this is a good time to commit to that. It's true that Mars is going to make you, when it goes retrograde, is going to make you more lazy. But it still is very helpful for studying. For internal pursuits, for things closer to you and to your field. So let's talk about Mars. We're going to talk about that in the transit report that follows this also, but we want to talk about it in the context of being a co-ruler for you. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. It's also co-ruled by Mars. So anything that your ruler does, it affects everybody, but it affects the people with notable placements involving the ruler more. So Mars retrograde can be a time, and so let's just, I think I'm going to mention this in the general transits also, but just to put it into context right now. Mars is going to go retrograde from June 26th through August 28th. There's a shadow period beforehand that starts May 11th. And there's a shadow period afterwards that brings us into October. So this is a very long period of time. This is a period of time where you can, if you let it happen this way, get a break from yourself. Now this is true even more for people who are ambitious, but this is also true for people who just do the Scorpio things, which is just feeling, being internal. And this is also true for people with Aries energy. You basically, Aries energy and Scorpio energy is really intense. And part of that intensity comes from this ruler of Mars. So when Mars is not in full gear, this gives you a chance to have a break from yourself. I have Aries rising, so I feel this very much like you would feel it, which is if I try to get a bunch of stuff done in that period of time, it will be even more frustrating, which is one of the keynotes of Mars retrograde, is frustration, but only if you're trying to push in places you're not supposed to. If you can stop pushing and just relax, then you can see this time as a time to take a break. That's another reason why May is so important, because it's this last period of time where you can really try to push a bunch of things forward before the retrograde of Mars, this long transit, takes effect. Now, I do want to also mention that if you have Mars retrograde in your natal chart, you might experience this transit opposite to other people. You might become super ambitious when everybody else is getting lazy. And you might become super productive when everyone else is having blocks and stagnation. So, that's why it's always important to take astrology readings with a grain of salt, because you can't factor in every single thing that might affect an individual into a general reading. So, prepare to have an opportunity to relax. It's awesome for vacations. It's awesome for staycations. It's awesome for just cutting back your workload. And it's awesome for inner work. You know how I love inner work. So these are some of the things that are on my mind for this period of time for Scorpios. Now I want to go into more detail about transits or aspects that are prominent this month, the days they occur, and what I think that you can do with them. So we'll go into more of that now. So the theme of the month for May 2018 for all signs is coming up for air. We have positioned nicely in the midst of this trend of personal planets being retrograde that started March 8th and runs through the middle of December. We've got this little period where we come up for air from the retrograde process. Also, we're coming up for air in this brief window between the eclipse cycles. So we have 3 eclipses in July and August, 2 in July, 1 in August. Starting in June, even towards the end of May, you might feel some of this. The eclipse changes, radical information coming in, news, trajectory shifts that could be unexpected or worked towards, but all of a sudden they come. So in this little pocket here in May, we're clear of the Mercury retrograde that preceded it. We're clear for a little while of the Mars retrograde that begins June 26th and runs through August 26th. The shadow period for Mars retrograde starts on May 11th. So May 4th through May 11th, we're completely clear of any personal planets retrograde. However, with every day that passes after May 11th, we're going to go deeper into that shadow period, and ambitions may tend to wane. That's one of the big factors of Mars retrograde, is that drive goes backwards. Okay, so people get more lazy, and you can sync your life with this transit. I have Aries rising, so I'm very much connected to this Mars transit because Mars is an Aries ruler, but this will affect everybody. I plan for this period of time now as a relaxing, taking a break. So I go gung-ho all in the time before it, and I plan things for the time after it. But this sweet little spot is amazing for vacations. It's amazing for rest. It's amazing for staycations. So you can use this wisely. You just have to plan for it accordingly. Okay, so if the lesson is, if you've got things you've got to push through anytime this year and you don't want to wait until December, try to do it in May. Okay, if you're a person with Mars retrograde in your chart, you might start to get zippy as everyone else starts to tone down. And if that's the case, good for you, but you will be in the minority. Something else going on in May that's ongoing from March into July is that Jupiter is in retrograde. So when Jupiter is in retrograde, this is a time to scale back efforts. And this is a beautiful combination of a lesson that Mars is also giving us. Because Mars, when it's in retrograde, one of the best ways to use it is to seek to do things in more efficient ways so that you do less work with greater outcomes. Jupiter retrograde tells us the same thing. So Jupiter, in its expanded forward motion, wants to make everything bigger and wider and more breadth right? So when it's in retrograde, it looks for the places where you're spread too thin and it pulls them in, okay? So you have incentive to cut back, trim the fat, evaluate everything in your life to see where you're putting energy, where it's no longer useful and where it's no longer bringing energy back to you. Okay, so I'm going to go through my favorite aspects to watch for this month. You can get a written version of what I'm about to describe, as well as many more transits and details about them in my newsletter, my free newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com. If you've already signed up for my newsletter and you're not getting newsletters, I send them regularly. So check in your spam, promotions, events, folder, social events folders, because sometimes mass emails go into those folders and you can transfer them from those folders into your inbox to give your email service the message that you want those emails. Okay, also something to know about what I'm about to describe is that I'm going to give you dates, but sometimes you feel these energies on days before or days after. So don't stick too heavily to the dates. Just use your intuition to tune into the flow to see when you're feeling something, because it could be before or after. Okay. On May 8th and then on May 23rd, the Sun in Taurus and then Mercury in Taurus is going to make an opposition to Jupiter in Scorpio. This can give a tendency to overdo. In some ways, you have permission to overdo this month because you really need to get as much done as you can while the energy is good for it. But do couple that with taking your vitamins, getting your rest, trying to balance that energy so you don't do too much. Also, with the things you're creating, make sure you're not spreading yourself too thin, because as the tides come in for the rest of the year, you don't want to overcommit. So just be very wary of overcommitting, overdoing, oversaying, and even overthinking. Okay, on May 11th, one of my favorite aspects of the month is the Sun in Taurus trine Pluto in Capricorn. This is an amazing aspect for getting things done. If you have to plan launch dates, anything like that, important things around this day are very powerfully supported. In the middle of the month, we have a series of aspects that are all piled on top of one another and are each intense in their own right. Okay, so look out for a lot of energy and events in the middle of the month. We've got the new moon in Taurus at 24 degrees of Taurus. That's time for your new moon wishes. You can check out my website. If you go to anniehelpsyou.com, click on blog, click on astrology. The maximizing new moon in Taurus power period is on there. Okay, so you want to maximize those wishes. You can see more about that on that blog. A very big event that's happening at this time is Uranus is moving into the sign of Taurus. This has been in the making for 7 years or so. It takes about 7 years for Uranus to move through a sign. The last time Uranus was in Taurus was between 1935 and 1942. I won't list some of the pretty crazy and intense world events that happened at that time, but most of you know what happened at that time. It was very transformative and eventful series of time. And so we are in for many changes, maybe not exactly the same kind of things, but a lot of change. Something that also happened that's lesser known during the periods of time of 1935 to 1942 that we are set for in the next coming 7 years was and now is a rapid increase in technological advancement, including going to things in outer space, space exploration, anything with technology, anything with forward movement and planning. Also massive developments in mathematics, physics, any of the sciences and maths, medicine. There were major and technology of any kind. So there was massive expansion during that time. So we are set for this massive expansion. And it could be that you are part of this process. So if you have really good ideas, this is a period of time where you might create something that could be life-changing for yourself and other people. So definitely follow those nudges, because intuitive insight for advancement will be very much expanded during this transit. Okay, so we've got between the 15th and 16th, Mars in Aquarius, also squaring Uranus in this new placement of Taurus. So there could be, we've experienced this, like I said, the energy of Uranus and Taurus before, but we've also experienced this aspect of Mars in squaring Uranus before. So between May 12th and May 19th is when we really feel this aspect. The first May 10th is where it really might start. The second pass is going to be between July 28th and August 6th of 2018. And then the third and final aspect of this will be September 17th through 22nd of 2018. Okay, so this can bring solar flares and their natural counterparts, which are volatility and aggression, also drastic and dramatic weather changes and events. Uranus and Taurus can also bring those things. So if you are a person, well, I mean, really, nobody is safe from these, you know, these dramatic weather and climate events. But if you are in a situation where you're more prone to these problems, then just take extra caution, be extra aware, and follow your intuition. If something is telling you not to be in a certain place at a certain time, to sell somewhere, to buy somewhere, etc. Because these energies with these dates I just outlined will be flared, and then also this will be a theme getting stronger for the next 7 years. My next favorite date of the month is May 18th. The first was the 11th. The 18th has Mercury in Taurus making a trine to Saturn in Capricorn. So this is another great day, time, or period of time to get things done. You'll have to dance around these other energies that I just talked about because they will be pretty intense and they may not be the best for trying to do important things, but you just have to tune into your intuition and follow the flow. Okay, so even though on May 18th, we will be in the Mars shadow period. If you're feeling froggy, jump. That's the lesson this time. Anything that you feel really drawn to do in May, get it done because ambitions are likely to wane. The second to last notable event that I want to talk about is on May 25th, and this is Jupiter in Scorpio trining Neptune in Pisces. So this is a lineup of heavy hitter outer planets. When we have outer planets that connect, it always spans a longer, the span of influence is longer than these other planets that are quicker moving. So we first experienced this in December 2017, and this is the second aspect. So this aspect can bring optimism and generosity. It can also bring major spiritual breakthroughs. I really love this aspect for combining idealism and material success. So we could say the lesson of this transit would be that financial success and spirituality can coincide. Okay, this is a big lesson for many people here doing healing work, is thinking that they can't be materially cared for or have material ambitions while also being spiritual. And so this transit is helping us to blend those two. On May 29th, we have the full moon in Sagittarius. Mercury also enters Gemini, so this is amazing for travel, expansion, communication. This whole month is amazing for travel. And with the full moon in Sag and the planets in Gemini, people are going to want to move. They're going to be really restless. So this is one of my favorite months for travel. You do have to watch out, especially at the middle of the month, for some things. Also, if you're a traveler and you're going to be traveling during May, definitely go to my new travel website, Astrology Kissed Travel Bliss, and check out my monthly astrology travel reports because I go into more details about aspects that can be specifically related to travel. And also other inspiration and fun things there. Okay, so this last aspect on the 29th can bring anything with Sagittarius to drama or fruition. Okay, so publishing, teaching, learning, completing an education, getting ready to start an education because you've completed a certain phase in your life, writing, speaking, anything with religious or spiritual pursuits, churches, and like I said, travel. So many people will have a very blessed, wonderful travel opportunity, even if it's for short distance, could turn out to be for long distance around this period of time. So these are the things I have most on my mind for May 2018. I have a longer list of aspects to look out for when you sign up for my newsletter, AnnieHelpsYou.com. And I give them to you a month early. Also, if you'd like a written version of horoscopes, not necessarily talking about things that I talk about in your personal videos, then go to cozybysweetstarlight.com. That is my lifestyle website that is also kissed by astrology with these horoscopes. So I love to give you massive amounts of resources to work with these transits. Okay, so you've got the newsletter, Annie Helps You. You've got Astrology Kiss Travel Bliss for your travel reports and other travel information. You've got Cozy by Sweet Starlight for your horoscopes. And then also check out my blog on Mars retrograde and my video on Mars retrograde and my blog on how best to use the time when planets are in retrograde. And that's at anniehelpsyou.com. Okay, so if you would love to learn astrology with me, or you would love to be a coach as your profession, or you would love to bring your business online, check out my vocational school, Shine Your Brilliance University, at anniehelpsyou.com. If you'd love to have audio tracks that help to mitigate and enhance and utilize the transits of the time, my brilliant husband, B.R. Newman, creates these audio tracks, subliminal audio tracks that you can access for free on his website at iamhelios.com, IAMHELIOS.com. He also does readings. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.